Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
A Quiet Place, movie written and directed by John Krasinski, currently streaming on Paramount Plus, along with the newly released sequel, Part 2, which I will also be doing a review of. But I wanted to revisit the first one. I hadn't seen it since its original release back in 2018. I believe I watched it in the theater in Denver. I believe I was in Denver at that point. Actually, no, I may have been. I don't know. I don't know where I was living, actually. I may have been back where I'm living now. Either way, it is a great film. Movie that I enjoyed revisiting. It is a ballsy choice to make a movie that requires silence. But because of that, you have a very unique story. I mean, this is very much a story, a horror story, in some action, horror, sci-fi, where your leads are all speaking in sign language. I mean, I think aside from Sound of Metal, probably the only movie that's like chock full of sign language. And I would hope that the sign language used in this movie is authentic. The oldest daughter in this family is deaf, and that is why the family knows sign language. Probably the reason why the family survived as long as they have. I believe this movie starts with they tell you day count, how long it's been since the event happened or whatever. And it's like 80-something days. So not that long is when we are introduced to this family, John Krasinski being the head of the family, Emily Blunt being the mom, and then they have 3 kids. They have the older daughter who's deaf, and they have 2 younger boys. And it's a scene where they're in a store collecting, seeing whatever kind of supplies that they need. They're out for a supply run at the store. And there's this moment where the youngest has a toy in his hand, a toy spaceship, and comes to find out that the toy spaceship is battery-powered, which means it makes noises and lights. And this movie does a great job at really showing how important it is to be quiet, how dangerous sounds can be. Because it shows that scene of John Krasinski being very concerned about the fact that this kid has a spaceship, this battery-powered spaceship, and what potentially that could do. And at this point, the audience, we don't know. We don't know what that can do. We just know that this movie is telling us that any sound is very dangerous. But then there's a scene where the oldest daughter, in an act of compassion, gives the youngest John Krasinski takes the batteries out, and it's almost like defusing a bomb, how tense that scene is. And you don't even know why it's that tense yet, but you see him taking the batteries out of this spaceship, puts the batteries down on the counter, and then puts the spaceship down, tries to communicate with his kid. That's bad. So the oldest gives the kid the spaceship back, and as they all walk away, you see the kid grab the batteries. So there's this crazy scene as this family is walking back to their farmhouse, where the kid puts the batteries back into the toy and starts making the noise. And immediately you see Krasinski run, and then in a distance in the woods, you see this creature run, and it's this race to get to the kid. And, of course, it's too late. Spoilers, by the way. My apologies. But yeah, he gets there too late. Their youngest dies pretty quick. And, that's where we're introduced to this family just under 3 months in to this crazy situation. And it's not surprising. I mean, not only do they have 3 kids, like just kids in general, not really known for obeying orders, right? Kids aren't known for being quiet. And, of course, Emily Blunt's character is pregnant. So there's that whole thing that's going to happen. In a world where everything has to be quiet, it's amazing that they're able to keep their kids as quiet as they were. Like, he should be proud that that kid lasted 80-something days in a world where you can't make noise. Like any noise, not even just like saying a word type of noise, but just like getting angry and throwing something would make a noise. So even as a kid, being able to like let out those emotions, it's probably the most unrealistic part of this movie, but handled well. I was in it. The sound design obviously is amazing for this because it has to be quiet. Although there are moments where they are able to have dialogue, which I'll get to that. But yeah, you definitely, that scene really sets up the stakes as far as how important it is to stay quiet in this new reality. And then it's reinforced later where the two older kids, this is like, I don't know, it's like a jump into the future. Oh, actually, she wasn't pregnant at that point. But then it's like a year later, I think, and she's pregnant. She's like 9 months pregnant or whatever. And the kids, the two remaining kids, are playing a board game in this basement, and they accidentally knock over a lantern, which doesn't make that much noise. Not nearly as much as some toy would out in the open, you know, with its... I mean, kids' toys are probably intentionally designed to be the most annoying sounds on the planet Earth, or any toys or dog toys. Like any person that buys like their kids or their dogs annoyingly loud toys, they have something wrong with them, because they're just adding negativity. They're just like they're just audio terrorists at that point. But yeah, the lantern scene in the basement was very scary because, you know, it wasn't that much sound, and the alien creature still showed up very fast to their house. But yeah, it's the craziness starts to happen where, you know, John Krasinski wants to go out to the river with one of his kids. He doesn't want to take his daughter. He wants to take his son and have his daughter stay with his mom, still pregnant. But she gets angry and just goes out to the memorial that they set up for their first kid that died. The mom is home just kind of doing chores, doing the laundry. And craziness starts to happen there. While John is out with his kid at the river, he's showing his kid that when you're near the water, the noise of the water can allow them to finally speak to each other. And there's a scene where they go behind a waterfall and they're able to like actually scream, which is, I would imagine, an extremely cathartic thing to do that you haven't been able to do since this whole thing started, is go and scream, right? The need to like, for human beings, to the catharsis of letting out a giant scream, a giant yell, I would imagine is very needed. So that ability to go behind a waterfall, which shows up later in the movie, where the idea of water being able to kind of mask sound waves so these creatures can't hear you. But while everybody's split up, things go crazy, because the mom bringing the laundry up from the doing laundry in the basement, she pulls up a nail from one of the stairs, and now you see this nail that nail is going through somebody. Like, that nail is going to be a bad thing that's going to happen. You can't just step on a nail and be okay with it. You can't just step on a nail out of nowhere, have a nail, giant nail, go through your foot and maintain silence. So that nail sticks up, and it's just impending doom from that moment forward. You see the mom, I think she is starting to have contractions, and she's going downstairs, but at some point she stands on the nail, and of course she screams, and, you know, so now the monster is at the house, but nobody knows. She steps on this nail. She's starting to have pregnancy things. She's in the bathtub, just like doing everything she can. It's like intense. Like, this movie ramps up its intensity. When everybody splits up, that's when things start to ramp up, because like this, nothing goes good when everybody gets split up. so it's a scene where the mom is like in the bathtub, just writhing in pain, trying not to make any noise while she's dealing with these contractions, and dealing with like she's about to give birth. The deaf daughter is out; she doesn't know what's going on. The dad and son on their way back. It's like nighttime, and they're on the way back, and they have this like lighting around their farm that they use to communicate, and they have red lighting, and the red lighting shows that something's wrong. I think that she's about to give birth. Like, I don't know. It's a warning light, basically, to let everybody know that there's bad things happening. So they had a plan set forward. Like, the first movie's smart. Well done. The use of sound throughout it is brilliant. The idea that they have when there's red light, that's like, they knew that she was going to have to make sounds. They knew it. So they have this thing set up, these rockets, these fireworks set up far away to distract these monsters. Not only to distract them and get them away from the house, but also to mask any sounds that she might have having to give birth. And it's this intense scene where this kid runs out to go light these fireworks, and it's just in the nick of time. You know, it's like everything just barely happens at the right time. And she's able to let out her primal scream while she's getting this baby out. And Lee, the John Krasinski's character, goes and he's trying to find her, and he doesn't know where she is. And finally finds her in the bathroom where she's been hiding. And, the monster left because of the fireworks. So now it's them at the house, but the kids are gone. Like, they don't know where the daughter's at because she just left. She split. And the son, obviously, is where the fireworks are. And then there's scenes where the son gets chased by this monster but loses them in a cornfield. The kids find each other. On her way back, she sees the fireworks are what signaled the girl that something was wrong. She's like laying down by the cross where the memorial is for her sibling that died, that she blames herself for his death because, she let him have the toy. She didn't give him the batteries, but, it's like in that world, it's like if you were to compare it to modern day, it's like taking a gun away from a kid playing with a gun, and then it's like just taking the bullets out of the gun and then letting the kid play with the empty gun as if that's somehow safer, because all you have to do is it's a very easy step to add the bullets, and then all of a sudden you have a child with something that's extremely life-threatening. So she blames herself, but she's running. She finds the kid. There's this crazy scene where they go to this corn silo just to get up and out of the way. It's like they light a fire, the signaling fire. They had these plans for when things went down. And there's crazy scene where the kid falls into the corn silo and he's like struggling to breathe. He's, because he's sinking in this corn. And then the monster shows up, and it's this scene where they find out this hearing aid that John Krasinski's character has been making. He's been trying to figure out a way to make. She has like an ocular implant. He's trying to fix it because hers broke at some point. So he's trying to fix these other ones, trying to make them work somehow just by guessing, I guess. But in that moment, in the tense moment in the corn silo, you find out that her hearing aid causes this feedback when the aliens are around that hurts her head, but also hurts the aliens and basically keeps the aliens from being able to attack her, because the closer it gets, the more it hurts. So it's this crazy scene where the kids discover the power of the hearing aid. I think that's where they do. Or it's just a situation where they survive because of the hearing aid, but they don't understand exactly how it happened. Super intense scene. And then they find their way back. John Krasinski goes out to find them, and then while he finds them, an alien comes, and he has to sacrifice himself in order for his kids to live. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. They get back to the house, and the daughter sees the dad's special room where he kept her out of, but it had all of his like notes on the wall of trying to understand how how to defeat these things, how to save people, and also how to make a new hearing aid for her, which she didn't understand he was doing all of that stuff at all. So when she sees, it's like mind blowing for her. But there's a moment where they're all in the basement, like the mom's trying to hide from this monster. All these things are happening, right? This crazy action towards the end. This movie, like, super slow beginning, slow burn, but once things hit, like, towards the end and things just hit the fan, it gets crazy. But she finds out, the girl not only finds out that her hearing aid is the thing affecting these aliens, but she thinks and instantly thinks of a way to amplify it and to improve this thing, where she puts the hearing aid up to a microphone for this PA system that they have, and which is kind of a crazy thing to have in general. But considering that sound is bad, like, why would you would just never use that? But what it does amplifies the voice, and because all of these. It's crazy. It's crazy. This moment where she's smart girl. The whole script of the first movie is smart, and the way it ends is like, oh, they figured out, oh, we can boost the signal that disorients them, and while they're disoriented, they can get just shot in the face and die. So it's like they figured out a way to defeat them using this hearing aid, and they needed a gun as well, but. It's crazy. It's just like this end scene where the mom cocks the shotgun, and they're like, "Oh, bring it," because they're seeing all these aliens on their surveillance cameras attacking the house, and they're like, "We got this." So kind of a badass ending, despite the fact that John Krasinski's character died. They have this newfound knowledge to survive. I mean, this whole movie, whole franchise is just about surviving, just surviving a little bit more, just surviving a little bit more. But yeah, from top to bottom, I thought A Quiet Place was brilliant. Amazing sound design, great story, great writing, super smart, all around, super smart, super original as well. To have this alien thing where it's its main strength is sound, and how the person that has no hearing capability is able to defeat these characters that have super hearing ability. It's just great. I really enjoyed it. So if you have Paramount Plus, or if you're looking to buy a movie or rent a movie, A Quiet Place is one that will not disappoint. Get yourself $25 in new credit when you sign up for your great new cell phone service over at Ting. Go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. Sign up now with that link, and you get yourself $25 to put towards a new device, put towards your service. But it's a great quality service that you do not pay an arm and a leg for. I love it. I've been using it for years and pay so very little. I could almost pay 2 months of my cell phone bill with $25 credit that you get for free when you go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. That's TING, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com, and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!